James Harden is turning down the opportunity to be the NBA's first $50 million a year player, had a 2-year extension on the table, turning it down with Houston, essentially saying, get me out of here and get me to Brooklyn. What do you make of all of this?
I mean, he's trying to choose happiness over money. I mean, James Harden has a lot of money. He will continue to make a lot of money. Granted, that two-year, $100 million deal is absolutely absurd. But to what do you sacrifice that for if you're not winning, right? And that's been the thing we've talked about with James Harden his entire career, the guy that's been so close but has been so far away, right? I mean, they were a CP3 pull hamstring away from actually winning a chip or getting to the World Championship games, playoff series. So when that happens to you consecutively over a period of time, it gets to a certain point, guys. And Zubin, Key, we were on the show, and I was like, yo, do not discount Brooklyn. Like Joe Tsai, owner of Alibaba, they have the checkbook, they will pay for it. You give up whatever assets you need to. Yes, the Nets love Jarrett Allen. Yes, the Nets love Karis LeVert. Spencer Dinwiddie's already been out in LA sending somewhat subliminal messages about not wanting to be in Brooklyn. You have trade assets. And for anybody to ask that question, well, how does it work? Yo, you make it work. You have James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving on the same team. You make it work, and they will be the favorite to win the whole thing. I don't care what anybody says. The whole thing.
Damn, no, Jay, it just sound crazy, though. 50 racks for a couple years. It just sound crazy passing up on that. With that being said, we all know that he wants to choose happiness versus money. What is it going to look like? Let's assume the deal gets done. He's there. What is it going to look like with KD, Kyrie, and Harden on the floor together? Three guys that all are ball dominant.
Well, KD isn't really ball dominant, right? Kyrie and James are more ball dominant. And that's because Kyrie's been allowed to be ball dominant. He hasn't played with a guy like Kevin Durant. And also, James has been ball dominant coming from Daryl Morey and obviously Mike D'Antoni with the system in which they played a small ball. So here's the thing. Think about this transition, okay? You have Steve Nash, who played for Mike D'Antoni with the Phoenix Suns. He mastered that offense to a degree. Those Phoenix days with Amari Stoudemire and company where he won the league MVP. You then bring Steve Nash, D'Antoni as assistant coach, Jacques Vaughn. You bring them to the table, and now you organize an offense that's built around similar to maybe what Golden State did to a degree. Not the same style, not the continuity offense, but still, hey, look, if James Harden has an ISO, you go. If Kyrie has an ISO, you go. But still, you have to implement some style or system where everybody feels like they get enough touches or they're able to actually just run and gun, play that fast style. Now, I don't know what pieces they have to give up in order to get this one done, so I can't tell you what ancillary pieces they need to surround their team with, Key. But still, you would think if you have three of the league's most gifted scorers in the game, and don't forget, James Harden almost averaged double-digit assists. He was close to it multiple times in his career. So Kyrie, when you need ISO, do your thing. James, BRPG, you and Kevin Durant in the high pick and roll. KD can play more of the power forward. You can even play him at the center at sometimes. You can play that small ball style.
Keyshawn J. Will when he gets back, and Zubin presented Progressive Insurance. Our guest join us.
I love the reset,
on the show.
You love doing the reset every time, Keyshawn.
Hey,
every time. You do like 3 resets per interview.
You
know
gotta
that, right?
let the people know who's listening into the car that's just now getting into their vehicles who we are talking to. Everyone doesn't know the voices. So there you go, Smarty Pants. And let me ask you this one. The big three, right? Let's assume there's no championship at all with these big three that I'm talking about. Harden, Durant, Kyrie, or Steph, Durant, and Klay. Which one of the three, or which one of the two are better? Without the championship, get the championships out your mind.
Just off sheer... That's tough, Key. Like, you're talking about the greatest backcourt maybe we've ever seen to play the game.
Come on, man. This is what you do.
I know this is what I do, but I mean,
like you tell me, this is what you do. Don't. This is come on.
I would have to say, talent-wise, I would have to put Kyrie, James Harden, and KD above Steph, Klay, and KD.
Jaded.
But continuity-wise, system-wise, because system can help talent flourish, I don't know what system that I will see KD, Kyrie, and James in yet. I know what system I saw KD, Steph, and Klay in, and that system would help them win more championships, I would think. But talent-wise, I have to go with James, KD, and Kyrie.
Jay, there's been speculation around James Harden and Russell Westbrook both being traded. Which one gets traded first, in your opinion? And then what happens to the other one that's still left in Houston?
You see, Chris, like James, you're going to get the most in return for that trade because he's a very valuable piece. Russ is a valuable piece too. I just don't, from what I'm hearing on the streets, like I don't see the trade market being as high
that contract,
for Russ
right?
as it used to be. Exactly, that contract. Plus, look, man, with the style in which Russ plays, he's ball dominant. He likes the ball in his hands. It's pretty recorded that, you know, the three-point shot has been something that has troubled him throughout the course of his career, but he can knock down mid-range. It's almost like DeMar DeRozan to a degree. In this new age of NBA, they don't really value two-point shots as much as they value drives and threes, right? But I don't know if I see Russell Westbrook going to a contender, like a world championship contender. I don't know if anybody in a position to do that, maybe unless it doesn't make sense for Philly to do that, right? Because then that's the same player almost as Ben Simmons to a degree. So I see Russell Westbrook more so going to a market, I don't know, like he could potentially exist with the Clippers if they want to give up so much for that. I don't see that being a reality. I see more a team like the New York Knicks, like a team where, look, he'll have a chance to own the franchise will be his, but until Russ is willing to say, hey, I can play differently depending upon what team I go to, I don't know if a championship contender team will be willing to sacrifice that. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.